Ever pondered why there's a need for women's reservation in politics? Does it truly level the playing field, or does it merely serve as a token gesture? Let's embark on a journey through time, tracing the roots of the Women's Reservation Bill in India, also known as the Nari Shakti Vandana Act. This act reserves a third of the seats in the Lok Sabha, state legislative assemblies, and Delhi Legislative Assembly. It also applies to seats reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in both the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. The discussion surrounding the Women's Reservation Bill dates back to 1996, during the tenure of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. However, due to the lack of a majority in the government at that time, the bill couldn't gain approval. The timeline of attempts to reserve seats for women looks something like this. In 1996, the first Women's Reservation Bill was introduced in the Parliament. From 1998 to 2003, the government attempted to introduce the bill 4 times, but failed. In 2009, amidst opposition, the government presented the bill once again. In 2010, the Union Cabinet passed the bill, and it was approved by the Rajya Sabha. The bill was expected to be presented in the Lok Sabha in 2014. However, despite these efforts, the representation of women in politics remains low. In the Lok Sabha, there are 82 female members of parliament, accounting for 15.2%, while in the Rajya Sabha there are 31 women, making up 13%. Although this is a significant increase from the first Lok Sabha, where women made up 5% of the seats, it still lags behind many countries. According to recent United Nations women's statistics, Rwanda, Cuba, and Nicaragua lead in female representation with 61%, 53%, and 52% respectively. Even Bangladesh, with 21%, and Pakistan, with 20%, are ahead of India. Now let's examine the key features of the bill. The bill introduces Article 330A to the Constitution, derived from Article 330, which provides for reservation of seats for SC/ST in the Lok Sabha. It stipulates that seats reserved for women can be allocated across various electoral constituencies in states or union territories by rotation. In seats reserved for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, the bill calls for a third of the seats to be reserved for women based on rotation. The bill also introduces Article 332A, which mandates reservation of seats for women in every state legislative assembly. 1/3 of the seats reserved for SC and ST should be allocated to women, and 1/3 of the total seats filled by direct election to legislative assemblies should also be reserved for women. In the National Capital Territory of Delhi, the bill proposes a new section, 239AA in the Constitution, which gives Delhi a special status as the national capital in terms of its administrative and legislative functions. The bill amends Article 239AA to B accordingly, and adds that laws made by Parliament will apply to the National Capital Territory of Delhi. The reservation will become effective after the publication of the census following the implementation of this bill. The delimitation for reserving seats for women will be based on the census. The reservation will be provided for a period of 15 years. However, it will continue until a date specified by law made by Parliament. Seats reserved for women will be rotated after each delimitation, as determined by law made by Parliament. To sum up, the journey of the Women's Reservation Bill has been a long and arduous one, marked by numerous debates and discussions. The bill aims to enhance women's representation in politics, thereby promoting gender equality. However, the effectiveness of this measure and its implications on Indian politics remain to be seen in the years to come.